नमस्ते, स्वागतं सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य वयं शेवधी पुस्तकस्य मङ्गलपाठं अवगच्छामः। प्रथमश्लोकः अविनयमपनय विष्णो दमय मनः शमय विषयमृगतृष्णाम् भूतदयां विस्तारय तारय संसारासागरतः। एष श्लोकः आदिशङ्कराचार्यैः विरचित विष्णुषट्पदी स्तोत्रे भवति. Now let's look at the way to break this down. Avinayam. Avinayam. Vinayasya viruddham. Avinayam. So Vinaya is modesty, humility. Avinayam is that which is not Vinaya. For example, arrogance. We say colloquially attitude. Attitude torste anta kannadadalli ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾನೆ. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ Avinayam is attitude or arrogance. Apanaya Vishnu. Vishnu is Hey Vishnu, Hey Bhagavan. Avinayam apanaya, take away my arrogance. Damaya manaha, manaha damaya, bring my mind into control. Shamaya, vishaya mriga trishnam shamaya. Trishna means a thirst. Vishaya mriga trishna means, vishaya means the objects, the sense objects. The mriga trishnam, so the thirst of a mriga, of an animal, is the literal meaning. But mriga trishna is also a meaning, a word for mirage. Because trishna literally means thirst, and when you're thirsty, when you're very thirsty like an animal, you would envision or imagine an oasis, a water body, when there is none. So that is the meaning of mriga trishna. And vishaya mriga trishnam shamaya. So remove or disillusion my mind of its cravings for sense objects. For example, ice cream, for sex, for hunger, for food, for money and wealth. So these are the usual cravings of the human body, correct? So let me be removed of the torture of such cravings. Bhutadayam vistaraya. May you expand, vistaraya, to expand my bhutadaya. May my compassion, daya, expand over all living beings. It's not that I'm showing my compassion only towards my relatives, only towards my family, my parents, my wife, my spouse, my husband, my kids. It's a compassion shown not just for the street beggars, but also for all living beings. That is, be it animals, plants, insects, enemies, most importantly. So if there is a compassion, a sense of compassion, you need not do anything about the compassion. But if there is that sense of compassion that he is making a mistake, or that is making a mistake, but it is working out of its ignorance, and so let me forgive it in mind. But maybe whatever action is needed, the course of action which is needed, stipulated by society, that must be taken regardless of our compassion. But that feeling of compassion must be there in my heart. Taraya samsara sagarataha. Sagarataha, from the ocean. Samsara sagarataha, from the ocean of samsara, that is, from the ocean of worldly living, of the ocean of bondages. Taraya, may I cross over this ocean. So crossing the ocean is not a simple task. Even by the greatest of ships, it takes at least about 50 days maybe to cross the narrowest ocean, which is the Atlantic Ocean, right? So to cross over this ocean of samsara means to cross over this vast expanse of bondages, of stuffs which are in our mundane life. So that's the first prayer to Vishnu. Let's now move on to the second. Tavanubhuti sambhuta priti karita dasata dehi me kripaya nath najane gati manyatha. Tava anubhuti, tava anubhutim, anubhuti sambhuta priti karita dasatam. So tava anubhuti, by your experience, by the experience of you, tava anubhuti, anubhuti is experience, sambhuta, born from the experience of beholding you, there is priti. Priti means love. So now who is saying this? Ramanujacharya is saying to Vishnu, of course, that now that I've experienced God, now that I've experienced Vishnu in his true essence and form, I have immense natural longing, craving, and love towards Vishnu. And because of which I have now become very weak. You know, people say they fall in love, they become very weak in love. Because they are ready they are very gullible, they have become very dependable, they become very susceptible to all the toxicity if the spouse or the object of love has. So they become very weak and vulnerable, right? So, but they are willingly becoming that. So here Ramanujacharya or the Bhakta here is willingly becoming a dasa. Dasa means a servant to whom? To God. So a servant of God. Dehi me kripaya, Natha, kripaya means please. Devitu, Natha, he Bhagavan, ನಾಥ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲರ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ ಸಮಸ್ತ ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನೇ ತನ್ನ ಮುಷ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತನ್ನ ಅಧೀನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡಿರುವಂತ ಭಗವಂತನೇ ಕೃಪಯ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ದೇಹಿಮೆ ಗಿವ್ ಮೀ ನನಗೆ ಕೊಡು ನಜಾನೆ ಗತಿ ಮನ್ಯಥ ವಾಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಹಿ ಗಿವ್ dasatam dehi give me that state of being your servant. I'm not asking for your lordship. I'm just asking for a meager, to be a meager servant in your asthana, in your palace. Najane gati manyatha. I do not have any other desire, no other goal. Gati also here means goal. Not only do I have no other path, but I have no other goal as well. So just give me uh, the opportunity to serve you. Next. Kuru bhunksha cha karma nijam niyatam haripad vinamra dhiya satatam harireva paro harireva gurur harireva jagat pitru matru gatir. Kuru bhunksha. Kuru means do. Kuru, do your actions. Bhunksha, enjoy. Do and enjoy, right? So we keep alternating between the two. So if I want to teach, I need to have my stomach must be full, and in order for my tomorrow's stomach to be full, I need to work today. So similarly, this cycle of do and enjoy, do and enjoy. Cha karma. So I'm doing such an action. Nijam niyatam, and whatever is suitable to our swabhava, our personality. Nijam niyatam. Anything which is, and sometimes we need to do actions which are not always conducive to our personalities, but also are required because of our dependence or because of situations or circumstances. So niyatam karma kuru, and also enjoy the actions, therefore. Haripada vinamra dhiya satatam. And with what attitude must I do that? Satatam, always I must bear the thought, dhiya, the intelligence or idea in my mind of vinamrata, of being very humble, where as though I am at the feet of Hari, of Vishnu, of God. I am at the feet of God and I am doing all these actions as a service to unto the holy feet of God. So with that, etad buddhya, with this dhya, with this thought, with this idea, with this paradigm, let me do my actions and enjoy the fruits thereof. Harireva paraha, harihi eva. God alone is the greatest. So, which means I will not consider any other goal of my life, any other instrument of my life as the highest means, but only God. Harihi eva guruhu, and may God himself be my guru, be my directing, GPS, how he guides the navigator, the compass, the guide, uh, you know, of my life. Harihi eva jagat pitr matr gatihi. Harihi eva jagat pitr matr. He is alone, the God alone, he or she, whatever the case is. But here it's Hari, therefore he. Jagat Pitra Matra. He is the Pitra, father, mother, Matra of Jagat, of the world. Gatihi. And he is also the Gati. He is the goal of this entire world. And he's also, the other meaning is, he's the Gati. He is the one who causes the movement. He's the one responsible for the movement of this entire world. Now that we have made our salutations, let's get into the first chapter, which is Purana Bharatam, the description of Bharatam. Now, there are a lot of people here who comment that Bharat, India came into existence only since 1945. So, this specific chapter here is an evidence of the geographical unity of India, of Bharatam, of civilizational unity of Bharatam, as well as the religious and ideological unity of cultural unity of Bharatam. So let's go over this chapter. Purana Bharatam Vividha Puranebhya Sangrihitah. So this chapter, Esha Pathaha Sangrihitah, it's a collection from Vividha Purana, from different Puranas. As you all know, there are Ashtadasha Purana, there are 18 Puranas. Bharatiya Sahitya, in the literature of, in the entire vast corpus of literature of the Indian civilization, the Bharatiya civilization, Ashtadasha Puranani Prasiddhani. There are the 18 famous Puranas. Yavavu Teshu Puraneshu Karma, Jnanam, Bhakti, Tattvam, Ityadayah, Bahavo Vishayah Prastutaha. So there are Puranas like Bhagavata, Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva Mahapurana, Linga Mahapurana, Skanda Mahapurana, Matsya Purana, Kurma Purana, Varaha Purana, Garuda Purana, Narada Purana, Vamana Purana, of course, and etc. etc. Markandeya Purana, and there are so many other Puranas. There are 18 of them, most prominent ones. Now, in those, what is the subject matter there? Karma, Jnana, Bhakti, Tattva. Karma means what sort of actions, what must I do in my life? Jnana, what must I know in my life? What must I love? What must I should I just love the other other person? Who must I love? Must I love money? Must I love making money? Must I love teaching? Must I love working in a corporate firm, etc.? So, what is my love there? What is my motivation? What is my driving force? And tattva, what is my philosophy? By what principles am I living my life by? All of that is being discussed in the Puranas. बहवो विषया प्रस्तुता तथा पुराणभारतं विशेषतः वर्णितं Purana the ancient civilization of Bharata is also Visheshatah Varnitam. It's very evidently described. Prastuta Padya Bhagaha, Brahmanda, Varaha, Markandeya, Padma, Naradiya, Vishnu Dharmottara, Brahma Puranebhya Sangrihita. So from all these different Puranas, which are Brahmanda, Varaha, Markandeya, Padma, Naradiya, Vishnu Dharmottara, Brahma Purana, from all of these different Puranas, which are basically sort of encyclopedias, like we have the Britannica, right? The encyclopedia. So there are these Puranas which are not just talk about these stuff, these very primarily, but also a lot of information, very useful information about various subjects like geography, of history, of science, actually. Interestingly, science, Ayurveda, and medicine, about medicine, and about poetry, So there's a lot of stuffs which are being discussed. Therefore, they cannot be really classified as just being divine or spiritual texts. It's a very huge corpus of literature of so just as encyclopedias, right? You don't derive all value from everything about an encyclopedia. Only people who want a particular section of it, or maybe let's say a person's interested in cosmogony, who likes to read about the birth of the universe, will only go through those sections of the encyclopedia. Similarly, here the subject matter of interest was to learn about the geography and the extent of Bharata. Hence, from different such encyclopedias, like you see volume 1, volume 2, etc., we have collected those verses. भारतवर्षस्य भौगोलिकचित्रणं यथा पुराणं प्रदत्तम्. भारतवर्षस्य of Bharata भौगोलिकचित्रणं geographical chitrana means an image or a depiction of geography of Bharata as was given in the Puranas is given below. Let's go through those. Uttaram yat samudrasya himavad dakshinam च यत् वर्षं तद् भारतं नाम यत्रेयं भारती प्रजा. Uttaram yat samudrasya. So we have, of course, the samudra here, the Indian Ocean. So it is, now you see there's a compass here, right? So there is a north pointing up and there's a south pointing here. And so east and west. Now this landmass is located to the north of the ocean. Himavat Dakshinam Chayat. And there are, of course, the enormous Himalayas, the entire belt of the Himalayas. So it's towards the south of this. And please excuse my drawing. Very sincere apologies. And Varsham Tad Bharatam Nama. Varsha means the region. Here it means the region or the country. The country which is located here is Bharatam Nama. This is called Bharata. Etreyam Bharati Praja. In fact, the olden continent or subcontinent of India actually extended beyond our political boundaries today. So if you just look at the description here, it says to the south of the Himalayas. And if you look at a geographical map, you see that there is this subcontinent. Then there is the entire belt of the Himalayas. And in fact, Kashmir just comes here, and then you have Pakistan, Afghanistan, Balochistan, in the Central Asian countries, and then here also it goes on from in the Seven Sisters. It extends beyond the Seven Sisters, Myanmar. So this is the entire belt. So Himalaya belt, the ocean belt. So everything between this subcontinent is called as Bharata, was called as Bharata. And therefore the prajas here, the citizens here were called, the entire mass was called Bharati, means the Indian citizenry. Bharanaat च प्रजानां वै मनुर्भरत उच्यते निरुक्तवचनाच्चैव वर्षं तद्भारतं स्मृतं. Bharanat, to protect, to nourish, to withhold, to uphold the prajas, because in this subcontinent alone, the kings were actually not tyrants. They were people who were deeply concerned about the nourishment, the nurture, and the protection of the praja, the citizens. Why Manuhu Bharata Uchyate? Manu itself, Bharata. There was a Manu, the first king of this land, predating civilization. So his name was Bharata. And Nirukta Vachanat cha eva Varsham tad Bharatam Smritam. Nirukta Vachanat. So from this Bharata, we get Bharata. Means the land which was first ruled by the Manu who was named Bharata. And there is also a Nirukta Vachana. There is also another declension of the word Bharata, that which is Bha and Rata, which means those people of this nation who are very interested in Bha, in light, in wisdom, in philosophy, in information, in the light of life. right? So, which means basically spirituality, right? People, the most spiritual connections, traditions of the world they trace their location, their origin to Bharata. In fact, that is a very unique description of this geographical landmass. Even Sufi saints, they are said to have come from Afghanistan and far off the Middle East towards Bharata. There are also connections of Christian myths to Bharata. Of course, Greek, Latin, and the European civilization, of course, sprung away from Bharata. There is also connections of the African continent through Tamil Nadu and the south, which is what we typically politically refer here as Dravida, but there are also connections there. Then there are Indo-Australic, Oceanic, which is Australiatic connections also from the south. Of course, there were kings who went into the Southeast Asia, Indonesia. You have Puerto Rico and uh, Papua New Guinea, and you have Singapore, Simhapuri, etc. And there is a lot of connections from all different civilizations, even in South American civilizations, the Andes, etc. Right? They have descriptions in the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. So there are a lot of connections. Of course, China, we were always in good harmony with the Chinese civilizations and Myanmar and other civilizations too. So there is a great vast connection between all different civilizations and Bharata, even from the ancient times. Itta Swargascha Mokshascha, which means it was not just an agglomeration or a conglomeration of small regions. It was not the case. It was one full entity, which was in connect with the different parts of the world. इतः स्वर्गश्च मोक्षश्च मध्यश्चान्तश्च गम्यते न खल्वन्यत्र मर्त्यानां भूमौ कर्म विधीयते. So now after describing the geographical and historical location of India, now we are talking about the ideology. So what do people here believe? People believe that you can go itah swargaha mokshaha. People here aspire to go for swarga, which is heavens or more pleasures, and moksha, to be bereft of all pleasures as well as of pains. Madhya cha antascha gamyate. And people also here look at madhya, about middle realms, that is anywhere between swarga and moksha, which means some sort of pleasure as well as uh, uh, pain, pleasure as well as pain. So which is basically the mortal world. So there is the madhya world, then there is Swarga, then there is also beyond all of this Moksha, then there is also Anta. Anta means that which is Antar, which means below or within, that is hell. So there is this conception of hell, heavens, there is the middle world, which is the mortal world, earth, and then there is also something beyond all these three, which is the Moksha. Nakhalu anyatra martyanam bhumo karma vidhiyate. And to attain these, Anyatra Martyanam, there is no other place than this subcontinent, which is Bharata, where karma vidhiyate. There is no other place but here where people believe in the philosophy of karma. Karma is vidhiyate. Bharatasyasya varshasya navabhedan nibodhata. समुद्रान्तरिता ज्ञेयास्ते त्वगम्याः परस्परं. भारतस्य अस्य वर्षस्य अस्य भारतवर्षस्य नवभेदान् निबोधत. Understand that there are 9 subdivisions of this continent. Samudra antaritaah ज्ञेयाः te tu agamyaah parasparam. And there are these 9 islands which are agamyaha. They cannot be traversed from one to one without without a boat or something, because they are samudra antaritaha. They are separated by seas, by oceans. And how many are there? There are 9 such islands, is what they are saying. Indradvipaha Kasheruman, which are those? Indradvipa, Kasheruman, Tamravarna, Gabhastiman, Nagadvipaha, तथा सौम्यः गांधर्वः अथ वारुणः. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Ayam tu navamastesham dvipas sagara samvrita. And the final ninth one is, of course, Bharata, also called as Jambu Dvipa. Yojananam sahasram tu dvipoyam dakshinottarat. So it's made up of this island, this subcontinent is made up of from Dakshina Uttara, from south to north. Yojananam sahasram. It's about 1,000, miles is what they're saying. So it's about 2,500 kilometers north south. It's quite close. It's not very accurate. So we do not really know what the measurement of the mensuration of yojana was, what the conversion unit is. So we really are not sure what the exact kilometers then was of the expanse of north-south divide. Ayam to Navamaha Tesham, and the other islands, probably other continents, because they're Mahadvipas, are Indradvipa, Kasheruman, Tamravarna, Gabhastiman, Nagadvipa, Saumya, Gandharva, Varuna. So Varuna is the land where there is Varuna. There is a lot of coldness, ice. So we can probably think this was Antarctica. Indradvipa is where, of course, it's the central land. So this could be Asia. It's just a speculation, though it's a pretty, info-based speculation. Kasheru is the spine, it's the spine, Kasheru man. So it could probably be the Andes or the Rocky Mountains of South America. So that could be that. Tamravarna is that which is very copper in its hue. So a lot of desert. So probably the Middle East was being referred to here. Gabhastiman. Gabhasti is a lot of mountains, very tall mountains. So probably it's talking about the North America, maybe the canyons and so on. Nagadvipa is the Dvipa, the island of the Nagas. So here it means the Nagas were said to reside underneath or south. So probably this is where uh, the Australia and other nomadic tribes probably resided. So this is where the south, right, is. And Saumya is that which is very peaceful. And Gandharva is that which has a lot of Gandharvas. So Gandharva are the musicians. So a lot of civilization. And Saumya is, of course, Europe, we can think. And Gandharva is probably a lot of, uh, you know, civilizational as well as inter-civilizational continent. So probably Africa. This is just a speculation of mine, though there is no such proper information in this text, at least, which says about the different continents. But there are the 9 continents. And the subcontinent of India is, of course, the 9th, is what they are describing here. Mahendro Malayas Sahyah Shuktiman Riksha Parvatah Vindhyascha Paryatrascha Ityete Kula Parvata. And what in this continent, of this subcontinent, what are the different mountains? Mahendra, Malaya. Malaya is these Western Ghats. We say Malayalam, right? I think the origination there is, and we say Malay, Shabri Malay, Malay. Malaya means it's the mountains of the south. Sahyadri also we say in the west and the southwest. Sahyaha, Mahendra probably are the eastern ghats. Shuktiman Riksha Parvataha, Vindhya are the middle mountains, Vindhya. Parayatrascha, Ityate Kulaparva. Parayatra is the southeastern, sorry, the northeastern mountains. Riksha Parvataha, Riksha is again, I think, the Aravali range. And Shuktiman is the one which is near the coast. Shukti is the coast, right? So it probably is the, again, probably the Sundarbans and that region. I may be mistaken here. And of course, the Himalayas, we have already seen them being described. But within it, we have Shuktiman, Riksha Parvata, then the Mahendra, Malaya, Sakhya, Vindhya. These are the prominent mountain ranges in the subcontinent. And what are the rivers? Ganga, Saraswati, Sindhu, Chandrabhaga, Tathapara, Yamuna, Shatadru, Vidasta, Iravati, Kuhu. So we have Ganga, Saraswati in the northern belt. So we have Saraswati, we have Ganga, we have the Sindhu, the Indus. Chandrabhaga is somewhere here. It's a tributary of the Indus. Yamuna is, of course, with Ganga. Shatadru, Satluj also here. Vitasta, the Rabi, Bees, and the other rivers of Saraswati. Iravati, Kuhuhu. Kuhu, I think, is probably in the middle flowing river, the Madhya Pradesh Wala river. And Iravati. Now, these are the different prominent rivers. These are perennial rivers, which are snow-fed, the glacier-fed rivers, right? So they are mentioned specially. Of course, there are also the southern flowing rivers like Kaveri, etc. And Kaveri does seem mentioned even in the Vedas. So it's not that it's not mentioned, but in this particular shloka, it's not mentioned. And then विश्वस्य मातरः सर्वा सर्वाश्चैव महाफलाः तथा नद्यः स्वप्रकाशः शतशोथ सहस्रशः. There are not just these अथ सहस्रशः शतशः नद्यः. There are also thousands and hundreds and thousands of rivers. Shatasha is 100, Sahasra is 1,000. Swaprakashaha, these are the Swaprakashaha. They are born of themselves, which means they are not the glacial fed rivers. They're not originating from the Himalayas, and there are other such 1,000 rivers. Vishwasya Mataras Sarvaha, and these are the mothers of Vishwa, of the universe, of this land, because they feed us. Mahapalaha, they allow agriculture to happen, and from which we get Mahapala. We get the result of food, of agriculture. Therefore, mother is who nourishes us, who gives us milk, right? So, like to an infant. So, similarly, the nadyaha, the nadis, the rivers are feeding us their breast milk, from which we are gaining the nutrition and much required essential component of survival, which is food. तास्तु नद्यः सरस्वत्यः सर्वा गंगा समुद्रगाः विश्वस्य मातरः सर्वाः जगत् पापहरा स्मृताः. And how sacred are these? Saraswati, Ganga, etc. Sarvaha Nadyah, Samudragaha, and these are going towards, they flow towards the ocean, which means they're fresh waters and then they flow towards the ocean and become salty. Vishwasya Mataras Sarvaha, they're of course the mothers of the universe. Jagat Papa Hara Smritaha, they remove away the Papa, the pollution of the land. So all the dirt, etc., the sediments, the dust, poisons, toxic chemicals, etc., are all removed away. Kapile Gograhe Some Tirthe Chavalabu Sanyate Mrityunjaye Groda Tirthe Vasuke Siddhakeshware Pandyascha Keralascheva Chola Kulyas Tathaivaja Setuka Mushikascheva Kshapana Vanavasikaha. ज्ञेयं तद् भारतं वर्षं सर्वकर्मफलप्रदम् अत्र कर्माणि कुर्वन्ति त्रिविधानि तु नारद. Now here, Kapil, they are describing the first holy places. Kapile, Kapila Nadi. Kapila is, of course, in the south. Gograhe in the north. Soma is in the west. And Somitirthe, Alabu. Alabu Sanyite. Alabu is in the east, in the northeast. Sanyite, Mrityunjaye Kroda Tirthe, Vasuke Siddhakeshware. Siddhakeshwara is in the Siddhaka, Ishwara is in the Siddha, which is in the south. Vasuki is the serpent of Shiva. Vasuka is also one of the east holy places. Kroda Tirtha is in the north, and Mrityunjaya is in the west again. So you see there are again different levels of shrines in all throughout the country. Pandyaha, Kerala cha, Chola, Kulya, Tathaivacha, Setuka, Mushika, Chaiva, Kshapana, Vanavasika. There are different tribes and Janangas. The I wouldn't say races, but I would say sub-races of people. Pandya, Kerala. So Pandyas, the Keralas, Cholas, Kulya, तथा Setuka, those who were adept at making bridges. Setuka, Mushika, those who were, I mean, here literally doesn't mean a mouse. Mushika means a mouse, but those who knew, guerrilla warfare, like a mouse, like a camouflage. Kshapanaha, Kshapana are the mendicants, the sannyasis, like the roaming tribes, the nomads, and Vanavasikaha, and those who lived only exclusively in the forests. So these were the different tribes, and only for the sake of mention, they have given a few of them, and of course, there were different more such tribes as well. Nyayam tad bharatam varsham sarva karma phalapradam atra karmani kurvanti trividhani narada. There are three types of karmas which are done here. The karmas means kinds of actions. What are they? First is nitya, naimittika, and kamya. Nitya means that which must be done every day. Naimittika is done on special occasions. Kamya is that which is done out of your immediate requirement or long-term requirement. For example, striving towards getting a Nobel Prize, or let's say Bharata Ratna, is a kamya karma. All of those karmas which will lead you to a certain kama, to a certain fulfillment or success. Naimittika is, for example, today there is a shortage of water. So I immediately do some jugaad to get a truck deliver that water to me. And so whatever different other actions, meetings, networking I need to do, which is required thereof, is all naimittika. Nitya is that which I do every day as a part of my duty, like teaching, working, managing, computer, whatever our 9 to 5 jobs are. Those are all nitya karmas for daily survival. Okay. So daily, occasional, and goal oriented. These are the different kinds of karma which are done. Atra karmani kurvanti trividhani tu narada. So these are the three kinds of actions which are done here. And narada means you are addressing the narrator here. Sarva karma phalapradam. And here all such actions definitely bear fruit. So there's a lot of success which can be had here. Tatphalam bhujyate chaiva bhoga bhumishu anukramat. Bharate tu kritam karma shubham cha ashubham eva cha. Tatphalam bhujyate cha eva. Definitely all such actions will yield fruit here, because that's the sacredness of this land. This is the holiness of this land, that no karma goes to waste, no karma goes in vain. So all karmas which are done for a particular reason, or as a daily karma, or as an occasional karma, all of them definitely bear fruit. They come to fruition. Bhoga bhumishu anukramad. Bharate, in this entire world, Bhoga Bhumi, on this entire earth, especially in India, you will always find people succeeding in their missions. Shubham Ashubham Evacha Kritam Karma Bharate Bhujyata Eva. Always, all kinds of karma, be it bad actions or good actions, they'll definitely find their fruit. See, if you're doing a certain action, it means you are doing it for a certain fruit, right? Maybe I'm doing Nitya Karma for filling my stomach, Naimittika Karma for evading some particular, overcoming a circumstance. Kamya Karma, of course, I'm doing it for a certain goal. So if I'm doing this and I'm not getting the result, so then there's no point to this action. Hence, this is the only place where you get all such success, but you get both kinds of successes. So whether you are doing it for a Shubha Karma, you will get a positive success of action. And if you do it as an Ashubha Karma, which means a bad action, an evil action, you will also find a result, a consequence of the same here. You cannot escape the Karma Phala is the conclusion. आफल क्षयणं विप्र भुज्यते अत्र जन्तुभिः अन्यत्र जन्तुभिः अद्यापि देवा इच्छन्ति जन्म भारत भूतले. आफल क्षयणं विप्र भुज्यते अन्यत्र जन्तुभिः. So in the other realms like Swarga and Naraka, people stay there in those realms until they exhaust their fruits of their actions. See, for example, you get punya when you do good actions and papa when you do bad actions, right? So punya is like the credit you get for doing good things. So you can, those reward points you get, and you can claim those reward points, and you can claim those as long as you have reward points to buy, luxury goods. And similarly, papa points are, blacklists or black marks on your, black taints on your character, and as long as you have them, you will not get a good credit score. So you will have to exhaust by repaying those debts, those loans, etc. Similarly, you get punya and papa in the realm of karma, in the realm of ethics and morals. There are also credits there, points there. Until you exhaust those, you will not be able to come back to this place. And once you come back here, Deva Ichanti Janma Bharata Bhutala, even the gods who are, even though enjoying their luxurious, pompous life, they still want to come back to Bharata. So you can think of this as being, different civilizations, or if you see it in a more agnostic or atheistic context, you can think of people in other countries, even though they're in the first world countries, they still come back to India for spirituality and such. So even if you're enjoying your good, rich life, you'll always need to come back to Bharata to get in touch with your spirituality. Similarly, which is where Bharata stands out. आयुः प्रमाणं लभते हि राजन् द्वीपेषु सर्वेषु नरो योक्तं कृत्वा शुभं कर्म तु भारतेऽस्मिन् द्वीपेषु सर्वेषु नराः प्रयान्ति. So pramanam labhate, I can promise you that ayuhu labhate rajan, hey raja, hey king, you can definitely spend your entire life, dvipeshu sarveshu naro mayoktham, you can spend your entire life in any of the different continents, but shubham karma kritva, they all do good actions to come to Bharata, to come to the land of spiritual seekers. Dvipeshu sarveshu naraf prayanti, from all different continents and all different civilizations, people migrate towards Bharata to find fulfillment of life. This is the grand conclusion of this entire chapter. I hope all of this is understood. Please go over all the different word meanings. You see here, there was a description of the different mountains. Mahendra is Dehradun, so it's in Uttar Pradesh. Kalanjar Mountains in the Orissa. These were also, they are also sometimes referred to as Mahendra. Malaya is, of course, the Karnataka Rajya's Krishna Nadi and the southwestern and the western Ghats. Sakhya is, of course, the Paschima, the western Ghats themselves. Nilgiri and all of these, Ooty and such places. Shuktiman is Vindhya Upaparvata. So they are saying Shuktiman is the other small range along Vindhya. Riksha is again in the east, Satpura range. And Vindhya is the middle, the Madhya Pradesh is Thar, and between the Aravali and the Krishna Nadi, Godavari Nadi. Pariyatra are the Aravali ranges, and Narmada Nadi Prasrita Esha Shreni, Gujarat Rajyatah Prarabhya Deheli Dakshina Paryantam. So Pariyatra is the desert ranges present here. Then you have Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Sindhu, Chandrabhaga is Chenab. And Yamuna is Yamunotri, Shatadru is Satluj, Vitasta is Jhilam, Chinab, Ravi, Bees, Iravati is Ravi, and Kuhu is Kabul. And Saraswati, these are the major glacier flood tributaries, or tributaries and rivers of the north. Because, of course, only these snow-clad mountains are there in the north. We do not have any of them in the south. Excuse me. Do solve the questions here and get back to me in the comments below if you have any doubts. There's a very good map here of Bharatam too. So that's it for today. Dhanyavad Aneke. Agrime Pathe चर्चां प्रवर्तिष्यामः। अस्तु।